I'm really excited about this new moon. It's kind of like a breath of fresh air at right almost at the middle of the year, and it's a really light and fun energy that we're going to explore here together. Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming a video about the new moon in Gemini that is happening on the 27th of May. I'm filming this on the first day of Gemini season as well, so a lot of Gemini energy going on, a very light and fun communicative energy, exactly the refreshing point of the year that we needed right now. So I do this for each full moon and new moon of the month. If you want to stick around, please subscribe so you can know exactly what is going on with these lunations each month, and so you can join my community of sensitive people who feel deeply. So let's dive into this Gemini new moon. So the new moon in Gemini will be happening on the 27th of May at around midnight here in Portugal, and it will be happening at 6 degrees Gemini. These times of the month are my favorite ones to reassess, to reflect, to think and journal and decide what I'm going to do next. What is technically happening, and this is really interesting, is that during the new moons, the moon is positioned between the earth and the sun, making it so it's not illuminated by the sun. And so from the earth point of view, the moon is invisible. It's not possible to see it from in the sky. So this is really interesting because new moons represent this cosmic womb, in a way, the hidden, unseen cosmic womb where we are able to plant our seeds, or where our ideas are developing and where they first begin. It is a really beautiful time to be able to set intentions and to be able to reassess what went wrong, what went well with our last month. So Gemini is the sign of the twins, and it represents a lot of the times the duality in life, as well as how two different worlds can mirror each other. What I'm speaking about is how the subconscious world is actually mirrored, and it represents parts of our physical reality as well as vice versa. So Gemini is really interesting because it highlights this quality of life that is that seems to be paradoxical. So the physical world is actually a mirror of the subconscious world, and the subconscious world projects into the physical reality. That seems like we're actually talking about two different worlds here, but they're actually the same world. So the Gemini sign represents this innate duality of life. And so what this lunation will be bringing us an opportunity to think about and to set our new intentions around is going to be about this moment of understanding how our subconscious mind is mirrored into our physical reality, and also what we can learn from our day-to-day lives that is happening and that seems to be very boring or mundane, things that are happening in daily and repetitive tasks that we can use to learn things about our subconscious mind and patterning. This lunation also brings us the opportunity to integrate two seemingly different sides of ourselves. Gemini representing duality can give us a hint around how we possibly have two different sides. So maybe you have a passion for writing, but you also have a really great passion for swimming and diving. And these two recreations seem to be very different and very disparate, but this new moon will give you the opportunity to integrate both of them into your personality and make it your brand in a way. So this multi-passionate energy is really alive with this lunation, and in general the new moon is asking you to embrace that in yourself. And going back to the day-to-day material world, I want to highlight that what is coming in really strongly for me about this new moon is that it's going to be bringing us the opportunity to learn in our day-to-day. A really great phrase that I read in the book 78 Degrees of Wisdom, if you want to read it, I will link it below. I really love this phrase, so I will read it for you. It goes like this: until we learn to experience the outer world completely, we cannot hope to transcend it. Therefore, the first step to enlightenment is sensuality. Only through passion can we sense from deep inside, rather than through intellectual argument, the spirit that fills our existence. So I think this phrase is really encapsulating of this Gemini new moon. What this phrase is telling me is that we cannot hope to be able to be spiritual, to call ourselves enlightened, if we're not able to experience and to fully live in the physical material world. Because the spiritual world and the physical world are so interconnected, which the Gemini new moon highlights, it is not possible to live in one without living in the other. So what this new moon is also inviting us to experience and to invest in is to be able to be present in our physical world, to be able to actually live with intention in our day-to-day. So this can show up as going out to dinner with your friends and having a really fun conversation, talking about a movie, going out to the cinema and actually sitting down and having a conversation about the movie you just watched. Having a really authentic and deep connection with somebody can be one of the things that this Gemini new moon is inviting you to do. This lumination is also happening at 6 degrees Gemini. This is the degree of Virgo, actually, astrologically. And so what this tells me, and also highlights again, is the fact that we are going to be able to use the physical world and well-being of our body in order to be spiritual and to feel a little bit more connected to the divine. I'm saying this because Virgo is the sign of the physical body and health. And so what I hear with this is that maybe we need to embrace a little bit more of physical care during the new moon. So maybe working out, doing a dance class, doing a little run can really help us sometimes to be more connected to the divine than actually meditating for 1 hour straight. And so the message really strongly is to listen to your body here and to not consider that you need to be doing a certain routine just because you set that routine for yourself. For example, imagine that you wake up in the morning and your routine is to journal for 30 minutes and then do a yoga practice. If you feel like you need something a little bit more pacey that day, like going to the gym, maybe consider doing that versus doing a lighter workout like yoga. Vice versa, if you consider that you're feeling a little bit more worn out, a little bit more tired, consider around the new moon to do a yoga practice instead of something more heavy. So this is really a new moon that invites you to play with what you consider a spiritual practice or what you consider taking care of your physical body. Because many times you can be doing a practice without necessarily thinking that you're taking care of your body or that you're being spiritual at the time, but it is actually exactly that. I'm taking the time to visit our tarot cards for today and see what is going to come up. And I already have some really interesting cards going on. So we have the beautiful King of Cups. He is so gorgeous. And then we got the Tower, and then we get the Justice. So these cards are really interesting. Here are the cards all together. So the King of Cups is a really interesting energy to be coming up here in the Gemini new moon, because the King of Cups is really connected to emotions and to being emotionally intelligent. Somebody who is very balanced with their emotions. This is exactly who the King of Cups is. It's somebody who is able to reassess every situation and to not act emotionally about it. The Tower, coming right after the King of Cups, is a moment, a shaking point, a point where a belief is actually destroyed. It's let go of and in a way leveled to the ground, and where we can build a new belief. The King of Cups could represent psychology and the more intuitive side of the human experience. Justice represents the law, the intellectualizing, the rule making that is needed in order to be able to have a functional society. And what we see here is that these two cards are separated by the Tower. Let's take a moment to see the cards really well. What I see with these cards is exactly what I was thinking at the beginning. It's this connection and integration between our more emotional side with the King of Cups, our ability to make decisions and to act intuitively, being revolutionarily integrated with our more rational side. The Tower represents a moment where a belief is destroyed, and many of us in our society believe that humans are divided in two types of people. We either have the people who are really intuitive, they're more lean on the sensitive side, and then we have the people who are really rational and are always thinking and have a plan for everything, right? Those are the two categories of people. Many of times those types of people can be divided by gender, for example, where females are seen as more intuitive and men are seen as more rational and intellectual. And so in this reading, these two sides are actually going to be integrated in this Gemini new moon. I think this is really beautiful because it marks a point in our society, in our experience, in our human experience here, where we're actually able to understand that these two concepts are not mutually exclusive. We can both be very intuitive and emotional, and at times use those resources to create value, to help ourselves, but then we can also use our more rational side to make decisions, to sign contracts, to deal with law, and to be able to assert our place in society, at work, whatever situation we're found in. And so this is really beautiful. I think this is really beautiful. Another detail that I can see here on the Tower, as you can see at the top here, we have a little crown that seems to be impulsionated out, almost like this is a volcano and it's exploding and the crown is being projected outwards. And we can find that same crown in this reading in the Justice card that comes right after. Justice is wearing this crown. What this actually highlights what I was saying about integrating the two cards before and after the Tower. It gives us this new, so crowns represent somebody who is an authority figure, somebody who is a king or a queen, right? Somebody who's an authority figure. And so the crown jumping out of the Tower and landing on the Justice card can tell us and can give us a hint also about how we're having a little reconfiguration of our authority figure. So maybe, and what is actually interesting here is that both the King of Cups and the Justice are wearing crowns in a way. And the King of Cups is wearing a sort of a hat, but it can also be represented, we can also say it's a crown because it's on the head. And so we're actually making producing or being able to step into a version of ourselves that has an inner authority figure that has a king and queen The king is the King of Cups and the Queen is the more intellectual side, which is the Justice. I think this reading is really beautiful. I hope you have a beautiful Gemini new moon, and I will see you around on my next video. Thank you guys.